Welcome everybody to our new series in preparation for Pesach on great themes in Yetziat Mitzrayim. While we're sitting here as if we're equals, my name's Eli Weber, this is Rav Ezra Bick. We're not equals. I was a Talmud of Rav Bick's in my Shana Aleph in Yeshiva. I continue to be a Talmud of his, so even though it looks like this is a conversation amongst equals, it's not really so. And Rav Bick, I thought we would start with just the general theme of Pesach. You know, in davening, Chazal say, Zman Cheiruteinu. But when you read the Psukim, it's not clear that that's really true. We like to say that Moshe told Paro, let my people go. But in fact, he said, Shalachta v'yavduni. And at the Sneh, Kadosh Baruch Hu told him, right, B'hotziacha ta'am mitzrayim tavdun et ha'elokim al ha'ar hazeh. You're not really going free, you're going to a new type of worship. So is it really the case that Pesach is the festival of freedom?
That's a very good question. Since, as you pointed out, we're not really equals, you're my boss. So I have to answer the question. I think the question is even better than you put it, at least in the minds of most people. When we read the Psukim today, Shalachet ami ve'yavduni or ta'avdun, so the word ta'avdun, in our own minds, it means you should worship, you should daven, you should sing songs. We don't remember the root, which you're obviously referring to, that la'avod is la'avod. It's lashon eved. There is, in fact, a pasuk, one pasuk, which could be understood, and Rabbeinu Yonah Girondi understands it that way, that not really says that after the Yetziah from Mitzrayim, the Jews will be Ovdei Hashem. And doesn't even say that they'll be Avdei Hashem, but it says that that is the purpose of Yetziat Mitzrayim, which is the direct contradiction to what we all have assumed, and as you pointed out, Chazal have explicitly implanted into the tefillah in the one-word definition. That line that we say, Zman Cheiruteinu, isn't just happens to be there. Chazal had a mission to, okay, give me two words which say what this is about. So Shavuot is Zman Matan Toratenu, and Pesach is Zman Cheiruteinu. Rabbi Yonah quotes the pasuk, Ki li b'nei Yisrael avadim, avadai hem, asher hotzeiti otam me'eretz Mitzrayim. And he understands, I think quite correctly, it's hard to understand any other way, that it's not the Jews, I happen to have taken them out of Egypt. It's explaining why. B'nei Yisrael are my avadim, asher, meaning for, because. Hotzeiti otam me'eretz Mitzrayim. The purpose of Yetziat Mitzrayim is to turn the Jews into not just ovdim, but avadim, which is actually the same thing, but in our own minds, I think we very often forget it. Especially true in English, where when I was younger, so in Sidurim that had English translations, so...
The Birnbaum.
For instance, the Birnbaum that I received for my bar mitzvah, from my shul, the Young Israel Forest Hills, so the morning prayers were called the Shachrit service. It's a British term. Service means davening, but it doesn't. Service means servitude. We like to call the Jews, we don't like calling the Jews slaves of God. So we just call them servants of God. It's the same word. It just sounds a little bit better. So it's a very good question. Oh, you would like me to answer the question? I can't answer the question exactly, except to say that it's true. The yesod here is, as we all know, that service of God is liberating, which has to be explained, but more extreme. It's the only thing which is liberating. And there's a famous line which is quoted in Western culture all the time by Jean-Jacques Rousseau, that man is born free and is everywhere in chains. And it's one of the foundational lines of modern Western culture. Man is by nature free, but the circumstances have enslaved him. We have to return him to his natural state. The yesod of Yetziat Mitzrayim, the yesod of the foundation of the Jewish people in Mitzrayim, is the opposite. The Jews are naturally enslaved. And it's a miracle, biyad chazaka b'zro nituya, to achieve freedom. Freedom is not just being. Freedom is something which you have to achieve. It's very, very difficult. And in the end, it turns out that the way to achieve freedom is to enter into the service of God. The service of God frees you being subject to people who are dominating you, or circumstances which are dominating you, and which are denying your uniqueness and denying your ability to develop and denying your destiny. Whereas the service of God is becoming a Tzedem Elokim, is becoming a great person, is becoming someone who is Karov Le'Elokim, Ad Elokim, Ad Kisei HaKavod, and that has to be done by attaching oneself to a greater thing. Simply allowing yourself to be unattached to anything means to float, which is itself a form of servitude. That's the yesod of Yetziat Mitzrayim, that not to be Avdei Paro, who is exploiting you, but to be Avdei Hashem, who is not exploiting you, but is giving you back your true nature, which is to be indeed an Eved Hashem, which isn't a diminution of your Tzedem Elokim, but the fulfillment of your Tzedem Elokim. In a nutshell, that's what we have to work on, to understand that we're leaving domination by Paro to become free to be Ovdei Hashem. But to be free and not to be oved anything, to be free of all obligations, of all goals, of all destiny, is according to the Torah not a freedom at all. It's merely anarchy.
Along the lines of Ein Lecha Ben Chorin.
Along the lines of, perhaps, Ein Lecha Ben Chorin Ela Misha Osek B'Talmud Torah Mishnah In Avot.
Thanks very much.
My pleasure.